What's going on, YouTube? Hey, welcome back to the channel. Just like to say, so welcome back, of course. Today we're going to be talking about my Knight build for the Northern Realm, and then we're going to have a separate video right after this. I just don't want them getting too long. The other video after this is basically just going to be a gameplay. I'm going to try to walk through as much as I can in that gameplay. So if you're seeing this, take a look at this next video that I got coming, and then I'm also going to have a guide below that'll let you guys bring that to import that into your deck. So first of all, what we're going to start is we're going to start out with Royal Inspiration. Mainly like that for triggering Grace at the end state. Once you guys get your Damsel in Distress down there, that's your scenario card. That thing's gonna start making you your money at the second or third round, depending on how well you're doing. Don't use it the second round if you didn't win the first. Okay, so you only want to use, you don't want to use it until literally your last round, or unless they're trying to bleed you out in the second round. Then sometimes you got to use that, and sometimes you got to just kind of compensate that third round and kind of got to work through it. So that's where experience comes into play. Take it easy. If it happens, it happens. And, you know, nothing's forever. Anyway, so this boosts the ally by 5. If they trigger Grace, then you can keep this, and it'll keep going down 1. So and that's why it says in the bottom it'll reduce it by 1. So if I hit this on one of my guys and they require 5, I'm still going to get my leader ability, but my next leader ability is only going to be 4. So just keep that in mind. If you're just randomly throwing it on people and they don't have any grace, you're going to lose it immediately, and you're going to lose almost 10 points. So you're going to lose 4, 3, 2, 1, right? You're going to lose all them points. So next one, that's just the tactical advantage. That's just when you're the blue card, when you go first, that's what you get. So Damsel in Distress. Damsel in Distress, this is the one I was talking about. This is kind of your breadwinner at the end of the game. This is a little bit of a weird one. Initially, it was hard for me, so I'll try to walk through this, guys, with you. So stay patient with me, and let's get her rolling. So it's doomed, so you're not going to be able to bring her back once she's gone. Scenario, basically, this scenario will start out once you play a knight. So that's when you can start getting to the chapter 1, okay? So the prologue, basically, you're going to throw your scenario down. You're going to summon a knight from your deck. So that's why this is the knight build, because pretty much majority of our guys are going to be knights. And then once you throw another knight down, you get that knight down, you trigger it. And then once anybody triggers a grace, it's going to give that specific unit, it's going to heal the adjacent units right to the left of it and right to the right of it, okay? So if you don't have, if you're getting people graced in that spot, and there's nobody to the right or to the left, and maybe they just have one person on the left, you're losing out on an additional boost. So be mindful, and when you guys place this, you guys will see this in the gameplay. And then again, once you guys get to that second chapter, it's going to spawn Mad Charge. Basically, this is the Mad Charge right here. You're going to boost somebody for 5. I like using this on a guy that I'm trying to get graced out. Typically, it's going to be our Maiden, and I'll get into that. That's why I really like that. So it's going to boost them by 5, give them some armor, give them 2 armor, and then it's going to give them vitality for 2. So it's a very strong move. You only get to use that once, but you get this grace. When you keep triggering grace, it's whenever you do it, so it's infinite. Once you run out of graces is when you run out of that chapter 1. Chapter 2, it only gets played once. So, oh, Nelly. So as you were, guys, I gotta stop clicking this. I gotta start right-clicking it, all right? This is the Oneiromancer. A lot of people will say it different, I guess. I don't know. So this is a pretty cool deck, or pretty cool card. It has Echo, so you can use it twice, okay? I used to think, I always just thought, I read the beginning of the Echo, and you would get, you know, in the mulligan phase, you'd be able to use it in the mulligan phase the next turn. So I didn't actually realize, I didn't read it at the end, it gets doomed. So you can only use it twice. I thought I was going to be able to use it every turn. So anyways, guys, just be mindful of that. It's Echo. It will go back into your graveyard, and you'll be able to mulligan it out the next time, and it's going to populate up there. But you're not going to get it the third time. So I tell you guys, this just from user error. So you're only going to get it twice because it gets doomed at the end, okay? So doom means you can't bring it back. This is basically play any card from your deck. So anything you need. You know, if you don't have a Damsel at last round and you got a and you got this card, that's where you get her out. So it's a very, very powerful card. Next one we're going to get, Amphibious Assault AA. It's a welfare card. Be mindful of the welfare, because we're going to have another guy, his name is John, where we're going to actually be able to use him to pull this, because sometimes you can't. Basically, this whole deck is just how can I get my good cards out. So this has a lot of support. Anyways, this will basically play a non-neutral item. So it's going to be a guy that's got some power on him, okay? And then the provision has to be 9 or less, okay? And then it boosts for each provision below the limit. So, you know, if you're pulling out a guy that's 9, he's not going to get boosted at all. If he's 9 provisions, he's not going to get boosted at all. If you pull out, you guys can do the math. You know, if you got pull a guy out for that's 5 provisions, he's gonna get a 4 boost. So sometimes you can use that. Be mindful of that as well at the end. Sometimes in the heat of the battle, most of the times I'm really not thinking about that, and be very honest with you. But it is something that maybe if you want to get nitty gritty, it can save you every now and then. So just be mindful of that. All right, guys, this is Heat Wave. This is a very, very powerful unit right here, okay? This removes a card from the game, so it banishes them. It's not in their graveyard. It's nowhere. That card that you knocked out is gone. So if you're running into decks that are able to bring people back, maybe like, you know, you got a warrior deck you're going against or something like that, like this just eliminates that card out, and you'll never have to worry about it again. So very powerful one. Save it. Well, it depends. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to save it. Sometimes you have to use it early to get through a round. So you can't always just save things. You know, everything's not just cut and dry. So this guy, Vandergriffs, he is a nice one. So be mindful, though, that his resilience will fall off the next turn. So basically what resilience is it keeps you around. And then be mindful on this, guys. This is things that I don't even see guys on stream or help me out. This is awesome. Note on here, boosts and armor are not carried over to the next round. Well, those are not carried over, but you can carry over infusions. So if you have things that infuse, so if you have a guy, his name is called Squire, he infuses somebody. So basically it throws like you get a heal per turn. Those carry over, but armor and boosts do not. So just be mindful of that. I've had a couple of times where I bring over infusions. And this is really nice if you win that first round sometimes, and you can bring them into the second round, maybe make the player play a bigger card, or, you know, carry it into a round where there's a lot of variables. Anyways, let's get back to the nitty gritty, guys. We'll watch the gameplay and kind of see that. But anyways, it's got resilience. So that means he is basically going to he's going to stay for the next round, obviously, unless he gets purified, then he ain't coming. So, and he's obviously got the shield on there. Shield is nice because any sort of damage that's done, Heat Wave will go through shield, but any kind of damage to this unit, it'll hit that shield first. So if a guy's hitting you with like a it depends on the unit, but if a guy's hitting you with like 6 and it's just one hit, that shield will take the 6. Granted, if it's multiple hits of the 6, because some guys will have multiple hits, it'll only take that first one. But anyways, Grace is basically how you're gonna proc your resilience again. So this is that Grace I was talking about. So sometimes I like to have him I'll use him on the second round and carry into the third round, because I love procking Graces with my my scenario. So this is how you can actually, let's just say you play him in a first round, things like get kind of a little out of control and you're not necessarily like happy the way it's going. This, if you guys get him to 12 in that second round, you can bring him in the third round, because then he'll gain resilience again. So you could play him all 3 rounds really if you wanted to. I don't recommend it, because getting a 6 boost sometimes can take 2 cards, so it's not really desirable. But hey, every fight is different. Let's put it that way. So this guy, Maiden Shield, he is going to be my breadwinner for the third round. He's got 2 graces on him, and he's an absolute stud. I like him in the third round when I have my scenario down, because his graces are procking tons of heals, and you'll just see these heals going off. So he's pretty cool. Spawns with a shield. We kind of talked about shield a little bit. Grace, he'll spawn this Browen the Bold to the right of him. So this person basically can't really get targeted, doesn't really do a lot, but this bold is it's really nice for this infuse. I'll get into that infuse here in a second, all right? So and then once you get this guy graced out again, he's gonna boost the bold by 3 again. Okay, so and then Death Wish, the Death Wish kind of bummer when he dies, it just locks out the bold. So be mindful if he's on his way out, you know, somebody's targeting him, you're gonna have to try to get that infuse off on the bold. So just be mindful of that, guys, because once Maiden Shield is out, the bold's chilling there and she can't do anything. So make sure you get that infuse out. And basically what this infuse does is it infuses a player that when they receive boosts from another ability, basically another character. So I was throwing this one. I was throwing the Bold's infuse on Maiden, and then I was putting somebody to the left of him to boost him. So then he would get double boosted. So that's just another little boost that you can do. And obviously, this gets grace too, so you can proc that as well. So that's another. There's just grace is the name of the game for this guy at the end. So this is Vandergriffs Blade, very nice unit. Basically, you drop this guy down. It's a deploy, so you don't have to wait. You're going to be able to damage somebody by 5, and then that damage is stored for when you play your next unit, and it's basically going to get rid of the blade off the board, and then it's going to boost that unit by whatever you killed him with. But it has to be a Death Wish. It has to actually kill him. So anybody or 5 or lower, I don't really like using it on 2s and stuff like that. I kind of like to stick with a 4 or 5 just so I can get more of a boost from the next go around. But it's a very nice card, and save it. Don't save it, but use it wisely. All right, so this is Immortals. Immortals is kind of going to be my breadwinner in the first round. Basically, gets a shield. And every time he loses that shield, he gets boost by 2. So it's kind of nice when there's a deck that's just like doing all these little damages. He'll boost. Somebody hits his shield off, it'll boost him by 2. At the end of the turn, he'll gain that shield back. So you'll see how he's gonna be one of your engines. He's gonna be pretty nice. You're gonna see how him and Damn Sorceress kind of go hand in hand. So War Chariot is kind of a newer. Some guys on Discord last night, we were kind of going over this, and we kind of threw this guy in there. So he's a little bit of a CC. I like to call it CC. He's a little bit of control measure. Also has a little bit of bleed damage. So basically, when you play this guy, if you put him in the melee row, he'll have somebody, you apply bleeding for 4 turns, and then if you put him in the ranged row, so this is good when you have, let's just say you had Immortal, and Immortal only I probably should have said an Immortal anyways. Immortal was only a melee. Let's go back into there, guys. So this is only melee. Sometimes I miss little things. So he's only doing this stuff in melee rounds. He's only getting that boost 2. He's only getting the boost 2 in the melee rounds. At the end of the turn, he'll still gain his shield, even if he is in the ranged, but he won't get that boost. So you'll want to play him in melee. So anyways, this guy basically, if you have a crew next to him, we don't really use crew because I don't really have soldiers next to him, but you can combine both of those abilities. So you can bleed and move people around. So like I said, typically, most of the time, you're going to use him in melee, but every now and then, if you got him in your deck and you're playing against the monsters that like to move you around a little bit, you can play this guy in a ranged and move your guy back out of something or into something, or however you want to deem it necessary for you at that moment or whatever, right? So, like we said, crew, if you got 2 soldiers next to him, that's basically going to allow him to do both. He's got a cooldown, and then he's got Zeal. So whenever you play a Warfare card, so what was our Warfare card? Our Warfare card was Ambiguous Assault, right? So if you play that, it just reduces his cooldown by 1. So sometimes that happens. It's not something that you aim for. It's just something that, just be mindful of it, and let her buck. Anyways, and Zeal is when you lay that thing down in the battlefield, like, we're going now. We're not waiting, so. So anyways, we will do Windhelm. Windhelm, I like Windhelm as well. He's another pretty good engine for you. Especially on a later round, he's pretty nice. I typically don't like to use him in the first round unless I lose my mortal, unless I'm losing my damn sorceress. I like to use him at the end. Why I like him at the end? Because of the grace. So anyways, you put him down. He's got that shield. And then at the end of the turn, if he has that shield, he boosts by 2. So it's really nice in the end of the round. He's holding the shield because he's just got so much life. And then and there's a lot of other people that at the end that I have that are boosting, and he kind of falls under the radar. He's a good card, but he falls under that radar. So he's also boosting himself. So if you put him next to people like Erant, for instance, Knight Errant, he's going to boost into Knight Errant, and those two are just going to feed off each other. And it's a really nice looking thing. Okay, so when he has he gets his order from Grace 10. So Grace 10 is basically when he has 10 life, he procs into this gains a shield. So it'll just sit there as an order, so you don't have to necessarily use it until somebody damages you. So you basically have a second chance to apply that shield. So super nice, super nice. Save that shield for when you actually lose it. Don't just see a green little circle and click it. All right, so that's Windhelm. Let's see what we got next. All right, we got our boy John. John's a new addition as well. It's just, so you got to use him in melee, obviously. Deploy means you use him right out the rip. But it doesn't work if you're going to spawn him. So if you pull him with an Amphibious Assault, you are not going to be able to use it, basically. So as it says right here, spawning or summoning a card don't count as playing it. So you're not going to be able to use him. So you have to pull him raw. He has to be in your deck, or else you're not going to be able to use this. And basically, you play a Warfare card. That's how we're going to get our AA, our Amphibious Assault. So it's just another means to get some cards. We just got a bunch of backup plans, basically. And here's Margarita. You know, I just call her Lock sometimes. So she basically just locks an enemy down. Be mindful. Don't pull me all the time and throw your locks on somebody with Veil. Excuse me. So Veil just basically means you can't apply stuff to them, and I've done it multiple times. It happens. So, anyways, here's Damn Sorceress. This is gonna be another moneymaker for us in the first round, and this is Zeal. So basically, she's gonna be able to. You're gonna drop her down, and you're gonna be able to use this remove shield. So what's really nice is she pairs very well with Immortal because she takes Immortal shield off. Immortal shield gets boosted when he loses his shield, and at the end of the turn, he gets his shield back. This chick, once she pulls a unit shield, it boosts herself. So she's basically endlessly boosting people. Sometimes people will spawn her and copy her and steal your guys' shield from you, which is kind of annoying, but it's kind of a wash. And but that's kind of a bummer, and that's just stuff sometimes you got to worry about. If they're doing that, you got to lock that player down so you can get your thing going. And just be mindful, one of these guys, one was premium and one wasn't. So I have 2 of her just so that way. That's also a new addition too. So just so that way you got more avenues of approach for getting what you need. So this is Knight Errant. Knight Errant is he can be interesting as well. So if he's next to a bleed, it's actually going to hurt him. So be mindful of that. So a good counter to him is if you throw a bleed on somebody. So anyways, let's get into this. So you drop him down at the end of the turn. He boosts himself for 1 adjacent unit that's boosted, or damages self for somebody that's damaged. So basically, if somebody has a bleed right next to him, that bleed is going to tick into him too. So be careful about that, but this is a really good engine for that later round too, especially when you're using your scenario and your scenario is proc and grace, and these everybody's getting boosted. He's going to get boosted with that. So he's also got another grace. This other grace is also a really nice moneymaker too, especially if you use him in the first round. I like to, if you're gonna see in this video. Actually, I think in this video I actually get shut down. I think I gotta kind of think quick on my feet, to be honest with you, but we'll see. But I like to throw him the first round. I like to throw my Immortal, and then I like to throw my Damn Sorceress, and I like to toss him in the middle of those two. And typically, third round, I'm up to like 31 points. So they can start, if you put them in between your Immortal and your Damn Sorceress, this guy can go. So anyways, so once you get your grace, it gives unit shield that are right next to him, adjacent to him, and it infuses it infuses whenever this unit loses their shield, it boosts by 2. So it's a really nice card to get people protected. That boost also will help boost him if it's right next to him. So it's kind of another engine that'll keep rolling. I got 2 of them. Ale is basically just if you get locked down, just it's gonna remove your lock and then boost that unit by 5. That's pretty simple. That's kind of, you're gonna use him when they try to lock down one of your engines. So this just resets somebody. So Spore, this just resets somebody's power. So let's just say they got a really tall, you know, somebody at like 30 power, and they're basically, what you do is you'll end up clicking one of these units, right? And this right here, so let's just say you're in a game, you're in the fight, and you right click one of their guys, and this is like 30, and this number right here is what he started with. So if this is 30 and this is 6, you're gonna take off 24. So that's a good move. That's a good time to use Spore. Mad Charge. Mad Charge is basically what your scenario procs. This is just another one of them. So it boosts an ally by 5, gives them 2 armor. And then if it's a knight, it's got a little kicker at the end. It gives you 2 vitality. Vitality is basically it's the opposite of a dot. It's a hot. It's a heal over time. It'll give you 1 each round. It'll give you 1 heal each round. So next we got is Pillar. Pillar is pretty self-explanatory. You're basically just purging a unit, or purifying a unit, excuse me. And it's on deploy, so it can't be spawned or it can't be summoned. That ain't gonna work. Be careful with deploys. That's burnt me a couple times. You can't spawn this guy. So if you wanna purify somebody, you're gonna have to. He's gonna have to be in your deck. So purify unit, basically you're just taking all their buffs off. And it's very good if you're going to do that for somebody that's got resilience, that somebody's going to try to carry over to the next round. That's a really good time to do that. Also a really good time to defender as well, things like that. So Squire. Squire, pretty easy character. I typically like to use him right after I use my scenario. Some people have mixed emotions about that, but that's just kind of what I like. I like this infuse. So when you drop him down here, it's an order. It's not a deploy, so you can spawn him, but you can't use this until the next turn. So there's no Zeal on there. So it basically just boosts the next unit by 2. And if it's a knight, it'll leave an infuse. So at the end of the turn, it boosts by 1. So this is really nice if you're going to boost somebody that's right next to Erant or something like that, because that's going to continually boost him, and it's going to continually boost Erant. So you can play that into somebody that will end up turning you into an engine. We have a lot of engines in this deck. We can get really big really quick, actually, especially when our scenario's proccing. So Centurion Knight, I used to have 2 of them, kind of removed him. He's okay sometimes. Basically, he's got another grace, so sometimes he's good at the end. He's kind of just a card that you can kind of put in there and do some damage a little bit. So he does 2 damage. Be mindful of the shields too. It's always nicer to hit a player with 2 hit points, because it takes 2 points off the board, rather than 1 and 1, so 1 armor and 1 hit points, because you only take 1 off the board. At the end of the day, I'll still do the 1 armor and 1 hit point, just because I want that grace and I want to boost him by 2. So it all depends, man. It all depends. And if this card dies, gains vitality. So if this card dies, I'm sorry. If the card that you killed died, then he gets 2 vitality. And then once he gets 6, he boosts himself, so he gets a grace, and then he boosts himself by 2. So he's nice as well at the end, round 2, for that grace. So I like to get as many graces as I can at the end. Rendian Knight, he's another guy that's got grace. I like him as well at the end. So what we got right here is barricade. So sometimes this barricade could be a bummer, because once he loses that shield, he's going to the melee range, and he ain't doing any boosting anymore. So be mindful of that as well. So anyways, you got to throw him in the range spot, and then the range spot, he'll boost himself by 1. You put him next to Erant, he's boosted himself by 1. Erant, so he's another engine for you as well. Exposed, so this is basically when he loses that armor. It tells about it right there. Loses that armor, he moves himself into melee, and then damages the next highest unit by 2. So he'll just pick the highest guy out, and he'll damage him by 2. So This is once he gets 8 HP, he's going to proc his grace as well, and then he's going to boost the additional units by 1. And guys, be mindful of these graces. Grace only procs once. You can't ever do it again. So once you get 1 grace, you can't just... When I initially got this guy, I thought I was going to get a boost here and a boost here. I thought we were going to get double boosts. So just be mindful of that. Once the grace procs, it's it. Like that's what you're getting. Congratulations. That's what you got. So guys, I hope this helps out a little bit. This is the Knight build that I'm using. I'm doing very successful with it. And went over some basic mechanics. Guys, take a look at this next video. This next video is basically going to be me during stream playing this build. I'm going to be walking through it. I really enjoy talking people through what's going on rather than, you know, just putting the gameplay up there and letting you figure it out. I like talking through it, and I like communicating. I like so that's kind of what we're at right now. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, like and share this video. Definitely subscribe as well, guys. We definitely appreciate that. So anyways, we'll see you guys on the next video. Make sure check below. I'm gonna have the build, and then I'm also gonna have one of these cards come up here. I don't know where it's at, to be honest with you, so I actually think it's gonna be over here. But click that video, take a look at the actual in-game explanation. All right, have a good one, guys.